Another 4.5 minutes. Okay, guess we'll get started anyway. Um, so I think we'll just get right into the Reddit reads. Uh, this one is from I Don't Work Your Lady, entitled "Just Happened to the Wife." Stopped at DG. What's DG? I don't know what DG means. Um, oh, it looks like it might be Dollar General. We have VG's here with a V as in victory. Stopped at DG for a cake mix and eggs because reasons. The first 4 carton of eggs that the wife checked had broken eggs. She found an undamaged dozen and went to cash out. Mentioned to the cashier that she had encountered what she had encountered. Mentioned to the cashier what she had encountered, and the lady proceeded to ask her if she separated them out. My wife said no, and then asked the wife why she didn't bring them with her. And the wife said, and I quote, "I don't work here, lady." Swear to God, the lady let out the biggest sigh I ever heard. Yeah, you can't expect your customers to do your job. That's your job. All right. The next one here is AITA is from AITAH. Um, AITA for ruining my parents' marriage by finding my bio father and exposing my mom's lies. Uh, First out of the gate, no, not your fault. Um, 19 male, always knew my dad wasn't my bio dad, and it was never a huge deal. I knew I was loved either way. Mom always told us my bio father hadn't wanted to be a dad and walked away once he learned she was pregnant. When I was 12, I started struggling with health issues, and we were repeatedly asked for a family medical background. Mom swore she reached out and asked bio dad for any insight on his side, but he refused to give it. At the time, we were told it would be ideal to find out more if we could, but we would do our best to treat me. My dad and I talked about it a lot, and he comforted me when I was upset that this guy made me hated who made. Oh, my dad and I talked about it a lot, and he comforted me when I was upset that this guy who made me hated me so much that he wouldn't even help for a medical problem. It meant added complications and always having to explain to new doctors I would refer to that I only had half of my medical history and could not get more. And really, it just sucked to think that he cared so little if I could be seriously ill or not. A year ago, my aunt, my mom's sister, told me that things might not be like they seemed, and maybe it would be a good idea to search for answers for myself. She said the worst thing that could happen is he refuses to answer or gets mad at me for making contact. I asked her what she meant by things not being what they seemed, and she was tight-lipped on it, so I did a 23andMe and ended up matched with a paternal aunt. From there, mom's lies were exposed to me. My paternal aunt was shocked to learn about me, and she told me she was 100% certain her brother had no idea either. She was a go between for us at first to help set up contacting and face to face meeting. When we met, he had medical info waiting for me, and he told me it was a thing I inherited from his side, and he would be a donor if I ever needed one. He was also apologizing the whole time for not knowing me, and he swore he was never told that my mom was pregnant. They broke up because she cheated, and he never heard from her again or her sister, aunt who pushed me to search. We got along with during his relationship with his mom. The medical info helped, and I told him that I'd have more questions once I processed. I went to talk to mom. At first, said it was all lies. Then asked why I searched without saying anything, and when I told her, she admitted it was true. She said she met dad after the guy she cheated on with my bio father with left her, and she came up with the lie so that could be a normal family. And she never told my bio dad about me even after I got sick because she wanted to keep things as they were. I was hurt, but so was my dad. He was mad she denied my bio father and gave me the chance to know each other, but also that she lied to him the whole time they had known each other. She felt like she made him complicit in keeping me and my bio father apart. Sorry. And he was super angry. She was willing to make my health stuff more difficult because I didn't have the full background rather than do the right thing and expose her lies years ago for my sake. The medical info I got was actually helpful for my medical team, and it was so worth it in that sense, but it has ruined my relationship with my mom, and my parents' marriage is done. Dad wants a divorce and already moved out of their house. My siblings blame me for it because they know what went down between us all. AITA. No, this kid is not responsible for what his mother did. Um, he is the only innocent in this family, and his siblings need to realize that. Um, one of the top comments is NTA, sorry about your mom, but congratulations on potentially two really great dads, which is nice. That's horrible. She just let him suffer, and she could have fixed it immediately, or at least helped immediately. I do not understand some parents at all. The next one here is am I overreacting? AIO. Boyfriend told me not to post graduation pics or don't come home tonight. I, 24 female, graduated last weekend and wore a fitted mini dress, not short, no cleavage. It was a big deal for me, first in my family to graduate. Lots of photos with my parents and friends. My boyfriend, 27 male, was there and super sweet all day. On the way home, he asked to see the photos that I was going to post, and then he said he doesn't want them posting because it looks thirsty and invites attention. I laughed thinking he was joking, but he doubled down and said if I post those, I shouldn't come back to our place last night. Literally an ultimatum over my graduation pics. He framed it as respect, and his coworkers and family follow me, and it reflects on him. I ended up not posting that and stayed at my mom's because I was upset and honestly embarrassed. Later, he texted me, glad you respected our relationship. The next day, asked me to delete some old vacation photos too. For context, he has made little comments before, like my makeup being a lot and not loving certain tops, but never an explicit do this or else. He's not a monster. He's been really good to me in other ways, but I can't shake this. It feels controlling, and I'm worried that's a preview of what's next. AIO for considering breaking up over this one incident is the kind of boundary you compromise on or a line in the sand. How do you handle all the social media boundaries in relationships without it turning into control? I'd really appreciate honest takes and what you do in my shoes. I'm definitely open to hearing if I'm blowing it out of proportion too. Oh, this poor girl. No, you need to drop him. Drop him. He is controlling you. He is only going to get worse. It's just a dress. It wasn't even revealing at all. Like, what thirsty? And you're in control of your own life. Self determination. Self determination. If you want to post pictures of your graduation, you should post pictures of your graduation and not let anyone else tell you not to. That's ridiculous. The top comment was as a guy, I don't think you're overreacting. It sounds controlling and very much a picture of your future and increasing shrinking. That doesn't sound right. And an increasing shrinking of what you're allowed to do under the guise of respect for the relationship. I have an ex who was similar, fixated on image, and despite attempts to meet her ever changing definition of respect, she ultimately cheated on me and said it was to give me a taste of my own medicine and stood by the decision at only after she surprised me on a work trip believing I was actually dating someone in another city, only to find I was not lying about being in my hotel applying to jobs in order to travel less. I very much hated being away from her, had no interest in other women, and was working to find a job which would allow me to spend more time with her. Her reasoning that she saw I followed a girl on Instagram was probably a whore. I don't know why they blanked it out. I had followed said person years before in our relationship and deleted my Instagram early in the relationship when she made comments about it and only activated it after she said I was hiding something by deleting it. I spent time actively unfollowing people and missed someone. Too long DR, TLDR. I know your situation is different, but I thought I'd share. I also ignored smaller red flags as the beginning. This sounds like a nightmare building, and I wish I'd listened to the people who warned me before investing years of my life and changing my career to be closer to her. If you're comfortable with what you're posting on your social media, Your partner should be comfortable with what you're posting on your social media. They have no right to tell you what to post and what not to post. If they are doing that, that is a red flag, a huge red flag. Maybe you can talk to them about it and they'll change their mind. But if they don't, you should reconsider your relationship. Oh, we need a break, so let's go to malicious compliance. This one's entitled Scheduled Breaks Must Be Taken on Schedule. Oh, this always works out well. My work has very little interaction with others for the most part. Basically, you come in, you do your work, you go home, except for a meeting or two during the day. Pretty straightforward. New manager comes in and wants everybody's schedule so she can keep track of the comings and goings. Quote, your breaks and lunch need to be scheduled the same quote, your breaks and lunch need to be scheduled the same every single day and taken on time, unquote, according to her memo. My morning break is at the end of the team's 15-minute huddle. A few days after the huddle was running along, so I got up and left the room after 15 minutes. She must have thought I was using the restroom, but I was sitting in the break room, which she noticed when she walked through at the end of the huddle. Every single time the huddle ran long, I'd leave after 15 minutes. She finally asked me about it, and I replied my break was scheduled and needed to be taken on time. She said that means within reason and not to walk out of meetings. I asked if she was going to amend her memo. She didn't amend her memo, and I didn't change my routine. This continued like a pissing contest for the 6 months. She found that she ran the department until she transferred. The next manager turned huddles into team meeting bullet points for the day, and we all went back to normal. Seriously, people who come in and want to change everything right away and don't understand the ins and outs of your areas, dynamics, schedules, everything, take a step back. Take a step back. Get the lay of the land first. Don't come in with blazing torches, changing everything. It's crazy. Stop it. Stop it, people. Just because you got a manager job doesn't mean you know everything right away. This one is AITH, entitled AITA for reporting my ex and her husband to the police for stealing my property. I'm going to say probably not. My ex-wife, 39 female, and I, 41 male, share custody of our three children, 16, 14, and 12, equally, and no child support is paid. Our marriage didn't end on the best of terms, and we communicate through an app only when required for the sake of our kids. She's since remarried and had a 15-year-old stepchild and a 13-year-old stepchild. Okay, she has stepchildren that are 15 and 13. Her husband and I do not all speak also. This is some terrible grammar, man. We've had some issues with my ex keeping property that is mine if the kids have it on her time. It started with a cell phone. I gave our oldest my old cell phone when one of my ex's stepkids broke his phone. My ex then told our oldest they were keeping it at her house and she refused to return it even when I went over there and asked. I was told she had every right to confiscate it. I followed up with an email and she told me to get over it and she would not hand it over. The next time our daughter, 14, brought some of my tools to school with her for an assignment, but it was custody exchange day, so she left my house but went home to her mom's. My ex believed it wasn't appropriate for her to have any of them, so she took them and refused to give them to me. Again, I got written exchange as proof. This last time was our youngest. I let him use an old iPod for a class assignment on recent old tech gadgets. I let him use an old iPod for a class assignment on recent old tech gadgets. Apparently, her 13-year-old stepchild had the same assignment on a different day, and she decided both should get to use it. I told her it was my property and she had to return it. Another email exchange, and then I contacted the police. My ex gave the stuff back, but she lost her mind over me getting the police involved for petty stuff. She said I could have demanded it back after her stepkid used the iPod, and I told her she wasn't giving any of it back, and what I give my kids is not for her stepkids. She brought up now how more serious trouble could have come from it, and I told her it would be well deserved because you cannot steal someone else's property. She told me it was just my spiteful side emerging because none of it was a big deal, or I would never have given it to my kids, which I think is the dumbest argument. The phone was because her stepkids broke our eldest phone and she wasn't about to replace it. Our daughter needed tools for school and it was only for school, and she wanted to return them to me, but her mother said no. And then the iPod was just for our youngest. I'm not here to help her stepkids in any way. My ex and her husband and their mom, if she's in the picture, can still do that. AITA. Personally, I don't think he's the a-hole here. Um, Things that show up with your kids should be returned with your kids. They're not your property. They are your ex ex's or yeah, they're the property of the other parent of the children. The top commenter says, um, NTA, next time she will think twice about stealing your property. I hope so. 'Cause that's insane. And I mean, yeah, he might have been a little petty, but when you have this, sometimes you have to be petty in order to get your point across. Like, return my stuff, please. I asked you for it. We emailed about it. Give your stuff back. This is best of Redditor updates. My 28 female boyfriend's 28 male sister-in-law, 25 female, gave him a plushie for Christmas and didn't make one for anyone else. Okay, and seriously. Throw away because I don't want it. Original post January 4th, 2016. This is kind of older, but it just went into Redditor updates last month, 17 days ago. I just want to start by saying that I realize I might be totally wrong and insecure in this situation. I really just want another perspective because I can't help the fact that this bothers me and I'm admittedly feeling jealous. I've been with my boyfriend for 6 months at this point. He has four siblings, three brothers and one sister, and we are the shortest relationship in the family. Okay, it's been less than a year. Anything less than a year in a relationship is still in the, what shall we call it? Probationary period. He has four siblings, three brothers, and one sister, and we are the shortest relationship in the family. Three of his siblings are married, and another one is in a very long term relationship. I think the shortest relationship in the bunch is 5.5 years. So I admit I'm a bit intimidated and insecure here. I mean, I get that. I married into a family of seven siblings. My husband's second to the youngest. His oldest sibling is literally old, closer to my dad's age, old enough to be his mom. It can be intimidating, especially when, there's seven of them. For Christmas this year, his sister-in-law made him a homemade plushie of this little blue baby dinosaur. Aw. It looks like a character from his favorite game, Guild Wars. The plushie is an amazing quality, and he absolutely loved it. But she didn't make one for any of the other boys who also love the game just as much, not even her husband. In fact, she went out of her way to give it to him without his brothers around except for her husband. Her husband was just excited for her to give it to his brother as a gift, but her husband was just as excited for her to give his brother the gift as she was, but it just felt off to me, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. Why would she work so hard on something for my boyfriend and no one else? And it just felt like such a personal gift that I could never match, and I just feel like she totally took away from what I gave him. Excuse me for a second. I I did try talking to my boyfriend about it and how I thought it was weird. He said he didn't think it was weird at all because she's always been closer to him than than the other brothers. Well, shouldn't she be closer to her husband than him? I didn't get one. I don't know. He didn't get one. I don't know. I asked him if he would give it back to her, saying he can't accept the gift, and she refused and said I'm being ridiculous. Uh, Because you are. I just feel like a woman doesn't make such a personal gift for a guy unless they see him as something more. Yes, he's something more. He's her brother in law. It was just how I was raised, and I hate feeling about this way about something like this. I talked to my mom and sister, and they both agree it wasn't right, and that this was most likely the beginning of her trying to push me out. Oh my God. I just can't help but feel she was trying to make him like her more than me because he said she has never given him anything before this, and this was our first Christmas together. I just don't know what to think or if I'm overthinking it completely. Excuse me for a moment, please. I forgot to bring my drink in here. Sorry about that. Been fighting this congestion. I think it's allergies. It's my allergy season. Yay. Um, and I was sick in July and was I sick again in August. I've been sick like 7 times this year, mostly with upper respiratory crap. Thank you for bearing with me. Relevant comments. You're reading way too much into this. As somebody else said, there may be a backstory, an in joke that you don't know about. It's also possible that she's working on gifts for everyone else. If it's as nice as you say, it probably takes a while. So maybe she ran out of time. I talked to my mom and sister, and they agreed that it wasn't right, mostly beginning of her trying to push me out. WTF? She's happily married to his brother and gave him a gift in front of her husband. And you think she's trying to push you out? That's a master level insecurity there. Completely agree. Uh, the OP says, I guess the time thing is a good way to look at it. It does look very professional, and I don't so I really don't know how long something like that takes. And that's just how my mom raised us. She has always been protective of our father. I try not to be her because I know she can be a bit much, but this situation has completely threw me off. And honestly, it's hard to see his other siblings, significant others fitting into the family so well while I'm just on the outcast. And users deleted here, but they answer, if anything, I'd say your mom is trying to drive a wedge between you and your boyfriend's family, even if she's doing it unwillingly or unknowingly. Yeah, that's silly to be like that. Sometimes candy helps my congestion. I don't know why. It's weird. Update February 4th, 2016, 1 month later. My first post wasn't popular by any means, but got a decent amount of comics, so I figured I'd update. I went a few weeks without saying anything else about the subject because everyone on here seemed to disagree with my side of things. And last Saturday, she told me he was going to spend the day with his brothers to just hang out. We generally make plans for Saturdays, but I hadn't thought We generally make plans on Saturdays, but I hadn't had the chance to make plans official with him yet. I just figured it was implied at this point, so I asked him if I would be allowed to go over with him. That's when he told me that it was just going to be a day with him and his brother. So I reminded him that since it's his brother's house and then most likely his wife would be present too, so I didn't really see how that was fair. Ultimately, it blew up, and I told him everything about the gift again and just how I felt intimidated by everyone. And I feel like his sister in law is on some pedestal or something because she gets to be there and I don't. Oh my God, this is the most insecure little girl I have ever seen. I also mentioned how I just felt like I was being pushed out by her and the gift that made me uneasy. He was frustrated and told me he was going to his brother's and that he would talk to me later. So I spent all morning Saturday on the grammar. The grammar. So I spent all morning Saturday on edge and just completely jealous. Then around 1 a.m., his sister in law called me. I guess he gave her my number and asked if I was free to meet her for coffee. I was confused, but I agreed to have coffee with her. I expected it to be awkward. At the coffee shop, she wasted no time telling me that my boyfriend had told her everything. She said she wanted to meet me for dinner because she wanted to see me to see her face and see that she was genuine in everything she had to say. She went on to explain that she had no feelings for him in the way I was implying to him and no intention of pushing me out. She said her originally planned to make the plushie for all the boys since they all play the same game, but it took way too much time. She said her original plan was to make the plushie for all of the boys since they all play the game, but it took her way too much time to make one, so she wanted to give it to her favorite brother-in-law. I questioned why not to her husband, and she said she lives with him and he knew he was making it in the first place and she could make him one anytime and just wanted that one to be a Christmas surprise. I told her that I was still kind of thought it was inappropriate since he was in a relationship now. And she paused and didn't say anything for a few seconds. Then she asked me if there was anything else bothering me, and I used today as an example. It bothered me that he went to her house and told me I couldn't come because it was a day with his brother, even though she would obviously be there. She told me that it is a day with his brother, and that just because she lives in the house doesn't change that. She says she kept to herself doing her own things while the boys played video games with each other, and that my boyfriend came to her when she was in the kitchen to talk to her about me briefly. I didn't say anything. I still felt a bit jealous, but I just didn't know what to say. And she asked me if I had anything else that I wanted to get out, and I declined. Then she said that she didn't want to part ways without giving me advice. She went on to say that she thinks I'm a very nice girl and that the entire family feels that way and wanted me to remind me that all the spouses and significant others were new to the family at one point. She went on about how it takes time to feel a closeness with everything, with every. Ugh. She went on. She went on about how it takes time to feel closeness with everyone, and that she went through it too. She said that she didn't want to come across the wrong way, but that I needed to work hard on my insecurities, or else I would lose my boyfriend. Smart woman. Listen to her. She would just went on and on saying how I'm so nice and that I'm ruining a good thing by letting myself overthink these things and by being so insecure. She told me to really think about how I'm acting over his own sister-in-law interacting with him. That's when my stupid brain made me say, well, if you were going to get a divorce, then you wouldn't be his sister-in-law and you would just be another woman in his life. And that was the moment it finally just hit me just how crazy I was being. She gave me this look and said, well, we aren't getting a divorce, so. And I just felt completely embarrassed and apologized. She then very nicely told me that on second thought, she thinks I might not be ready for a relationship at all and that I really need to work on myself. And that was pretty much the end of it. And we parted ways. I spent the rest of the weekend crying and hating myself. My boyfriend didn't call or text me at all. Finally, on Monday, he asked if he could come over. So he came over and asked how it went with sister-in-law, and I had figured he knew everything about it, but he said all she said was that he needed to talk to me. Turns out he didn't talk to me all weekend because he was angry with how I acted about him going to his brother's house and then bringing up the gift again, and he just needed some space. He told me that he wasn't going to put up with all this type of behavior and that it was putting way too much unnecessary drama into his life. As I'm sure you're probably guessing, he proceeded to break up with me. He told me he really cared about me, but he just can't imagine how bad it would get in the future if I'm already acting like this with people who are his family. I begged him not to leave and that I would do everything to change, and he just wouldn't budge. I haven't heard from him since, and I feel like I've had my heart ripped out and stomped on. It hurts so bad. I know this is all my fault. I have my mother and sister telling me it's good riddance and how he broke up with me so that he wouldn't have anything holding him back from his sister in law, and this just broke me. What is wrong with these people? Oh my goodness. He literally said he doesn't want anything to do with his sister in law, and she doesn't want anything to do with him, even if he did. I'm so done with my family and the way they put these toxic ideas in my head. I'm just done. So, yeah, not a happy update. From there, I'm planning on working on myself and hope to someday maybe convince him to give me another chance. I don't know why I wrote this update. It just feels good to get it out, I guess, and further convinces me I need to change. And the top comment was, I won't sugarcoat this. You acted crazy. That being said, you seem somewhat aware that this isn't normal behavior. So I suggest allowing yourself a little time to grieve the relationship and then move on. You should look into a therapist who can help you through these jealousy issues. But this is a lesson learned. In my opinion, jealousy is a very immature emotion that adults do not need to have. Like if you're feeling jealous for no reason at all, I mean, there are reasons, but if you're feeling jealous for no reason at all, then that's a you issue and you need to figure out how to change that, fix that, deal with that, either on your own or through therapy. Holy cow. I feel sorry for the girl. I really do because I don't think she liked this guy and sounds like his family's amazing, especially the sister-in-law. They could have been such good friends and her jealousy ruined it. And that's so, so sad. This is from AITA WIBTA Public. AITA for refusing to let my dad's girlfriend wear white to my wedding. No, no, you're not. That's crazy. I, 27 female, am getting married this fall. My dad, 55 male, has been dating this girlfriend, 42 female, for about 2 years. She's nice enough, but she's a bit of a main character vibe. Last week during a family dinner, she announced she already bought her dress for my wedding. When she showed me a picture, my jaw dropped. It was a long, lacy white gown that honestly looked like a wedding dress itself. I told her immediately she could not wear white to my wedding. She laughed and said, "Oh, relax. No one will confuse me with the bride." My dad said it wasn't a big deal. I should pick my battles. Oh, I'd pick that battle. I stood firm and said that if she wore that dress, she would not be allowed in. Now she's calling me a bridezilla. My dad is upset because I'm making threats. My fiance and friends are on my side, but part of me worries I came off too harsh. AITA for drawing that line. No, no, you are not. That is so ridiculous. Why are there so many stories about wearing white to other people's weddings? Like, stop doing that. Like, I would never. I wore black to a wedding once, which, I mean, it didn't mean anything. It was the only dress I could find to wear, but don't wear white. It's the bride's color that day. And if you do wear white, the bride might show up in a different color because I've seen that happen before. Top comment is NTA, you don't wear white to someone else's wedding unless cultural tradition or pre-agreed on dictate says. Okay, that one didn't sound right. Like, the reply to that was right. It's like the most known wedding rule, basically wedding 101. Nobody wears white but the bride. If she's pretending not to know that, it feels intentional, and it does. It does. And white lacy gown. Come on, grow up, people. So The reason I did not, I'm going to show you this now, because I figured out how to do it, so that's fun. The reason I dipped out yesterday, so when I said I'd be back at 3 after I lost my voice, because worst year ever, so let's just add to it. Um, oh, shoot, that's not what I wanted. See, I don't know what I'm doing yet. There we go. Okay. This I did this to my car yesterday. Went to Burger King for lunch. Probably shouldn't have been driving because I missed the Burger King um, turn twice. I was trying not to hit the car to my right, and I ran into a giant work truck. Didn't do any damage to the work truck, and now my car looks like this. So I'm thrilled. So happy. This right here is $80, and this is probably going to be like 400 or 500 at least. And my son will do the work, so I don't have to pay labor at least. He says it's pretty easy fix. So I had to, of course, I did go into the Burger King. I told the guy hit his car or truck. He said, I don't, he said, don't worry about it. I said, do you want to see and make sure there's no damage to your truck? And he's like, no, I know how tough that thing is. So I thanked him and left. And I called my husband and he told me to call my son. My son said, well, come over here to where I'm working and I'll look at it. And so we did that. And yeah, so it's just happy. So much happiness. This is my life this year. Like everything. We already had one car totaled this year. Never had a car accident before. It's craziness. Okay, so for the um last read today is from Entitled People, and it's entitled Teenagers Cut the Line at Disneyland. I think you can get kicked out for doing stuff like that. About 2 weeks ago, my large family took a trip to Disneyland. About 22 of us in total. That is a lot of people to go to Disneyland with. My wife and I have 3 young children who aren't big enough to ride all the rides. But fortunately, given our group size, some adults could stay with them while we got to ride some of the larger and more popular rides. So it's our turn to ride Smuggler's Run in Star Wars. Ooh, that sounds like a fun ride. And the wait time was manageable, 45 minutes. That's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. About halfway into it, 3 young teenage girls walked past us. One was on her phone, the other two smiling and drinking their drinks. They at least had the decency to say, "Excuse me." They hopped a couple of barriers and met up with some friends I assume were the ones the girl on the phone was with. And no big deal. Doesn't bother me. Out of sight, out of mind. Now, my wife and I are near the front of the line and part of the next group to get on the ride. The doors open and it's finally our turn. We are literally about to walk on. 3 more girls show up and say, "Oh, excuse me," and right past us into the waiting area. The Disney worker asks them, "How many are in your group?" One girl says 3, another says 6, and another just smiling and drinking her drink. I put the pieces together and realized they were part of the other group of teenagers, similar to similar high school mascot shirts, who cut the line and were looking to meet up with them. But that group had already gotten on the ride. These girls had cut in the entire line and were about to take the last available seat. After waiting 45 minutes and getting cut off in front of us at the last possible moment, I was not going to let it slide. I spoke up and says, "Wow, you girls cut the entire line and expect us to be cool with that?" The Disney worker looks at me and then my wife, and she explains that the girls cut the entire line. It wasn't fair to everybody else who had been waiting patiently. After hearing that information, the worker calmly looked at them and told them they had needed to leave and head to the back of the line and wait like everyone else. Then she waved my wife and I in. It was a small victory, but it was nice to see the grins wiped off their faces. The ride was awesome. I highly recommend. Good. The worker did good. These guys didn't get upset and cuss anybody out. This is how you handle things, people. This is how you handle things. Recently had a little incident myself with kids trying to they weren't really cutting in line, but they pushed down a 2-year-old to get on a ride. So that was fun. Don't do that. Teach your parents teach your kids better than this, please. You're not entitled. You're just not. Everybody has to wait their turn. That's just life. All right. Please like and subscribe and all the things. I appreciate it. Everybody take care. I will see you 10 o'clock in the morning, and I only need to do this once tomorrow. Yay! Bye, biddies.